All right, go. So.
I'm starting now?
Yes.
I bet. Cool. Yeah, I got you. But first, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. Honestly, it's my first time even doing something like this.
Right.
It's always been a part of my goal to kind of communicate, do some kind of public speaking, just give a little perspective back to people that growing and growing, coming up in life. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to y'all. This is part of my vision, part of my dream. Even though it's on a small scale, you never know where things can go. So I appreciate y'all being a part of it. Basically, it's going to be a PowerPoint on navigating life, just a little perspective. I'm only 29. That's my aunt, Miss Joseph. She actually saw me when I was around your age, when I was a knucklehead, when I didn't want to listen to nobody, when I just felt like I had it all figured out. She honestly was my counselor before I even knew about conscious therapy, none of that type of stuff. So I'm glad that she brought me in just to kind of give my perspective back, I guess 10 years removed from where y'all currently are now.
Level your heads.
Little level head, not nothing crazy. I'm not like no corporate dude. I don't wear like a suit and stuff, but I did certain things in my life that actually worked with my passions and some of my dreams that I hope can give y'all a little bit of insight. Alright, so the
Next or no?
Not yet. So I call it Navigating Life, and it's just some advice on school, entrepreneurship, and your overall aspirations. You go to the next one. Alright, I got a quick question. You can, if y'all want the person to take an answer, but you can just keep it to yourself for now. Basically, does the thought of your future motivate you or scare you?
Take a minute, think about it.
What you got? Motivates you? How so? That's a good energy to have.
It's kind of a little bit both because
You guys speak up, I can't hear you.
it's a little bit of both because I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Project.
Yeah, but it's kind of both for me because it's unknown for me at this point, but like what he says, I'm kind of motivated because I have a lot of good ideas.
Good. Very good. Anyone else want to go in? Alright, cool.
Very good.
Those good answers. Exactly. Pretty much as you should pretty much feel about it. Depending on your dream and depending on your future, it should really do both. Honestly, depending on how big your dream is, you should feel a sense of fear behind it, but you should also feel motivated. And a lot of that fear that you may feel comes from confusion, not knowing really what to do, how to go about it. You got all these ideas and so many different options, and you see one person doing this, you got the Instagram doing that, somebody's flexing over here. It makes it seem like you don't really know which way to go about it. But hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a better answer to this question. Go ahead, Nancy. Alright, a little bit about me. My name is Devon Marcus. Like I said, I'm actually only 29 years old, about 10 years older than y'all. I'm a visual artist, graphic designer, freelancer. My current title, along with all the other stuff, is a chemical engineer because I have a 9-to-5 as well as things that I pursue. Yeah, so this is my logo. That falls into graphic design. Some of the stuff that I've done over the years, I've done murals, I've done inside murals. You go next slide.
Wait, I want to explain the
Actually, no, let me start a little bit.
the angel one. So, go ahead.
Basically, when I first started around high school, it was about junior year where I kind of got the spark to do a clothing brand. But it wasn't really to say, oh, I want to do a clothing brand and be rich or anything like that. To be honest, I've always been into sneakers, I've always been into clothes. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I had moved to Atlanta around the age of 13, but I started 9th grade in Atlanta. I was completely new, didn't know nobody, I was just out there. But just being myself, people kind of took to me because I always used to draw in class. I used to just do me. I never really was too focused on anyone else. But through doing that, I kind of came up with a brand just to match my sneakers instead of spending money on buying the clothes. So I'll just go buy the sneakers and then pair things together. And from there, I actually just kept developing, met people, shook some right hands, and it led into a lot of this other stuff like murals. Oh, actually, sorry. Let me elaborate on this real quick. This opportunity here came from me freelancing. A guy actually was running a screen print and creative directing company, and he pretty much was looking for someone to do a mural. Found me through Instagram and basically asked me to do the mural. When I came in and did the mural, he actually found out all the other stuff that I did, and it turned into a 3-year span of me working for this company, where I actually did t-shirts for Jacquees, some social media people. I wish I wrote all the names down, but there's a lot of different stuff. It led to a lot of different things, but that's the whole span of all this, where one thought could lead to other things.
Two. I was gonna say for the angel, they had people coming from all over just to go to Atlanta to take the picture, and to have the angel wings in the back of them. And
Right, it's one of those interactive murals. So
Right.
initially, this is actually the original one that I did. Over time, it got like a lot of buzz. It was in the newspaper and stuff like that in Atlanta. And then basically the owner of the company was like, we want to revamp it, bring it a little bit back to life. So I actually got 2 jobs from the same person, just from they liking what I did. And then it turned into this one here. And this one's currently up now. If y'all know like Lil Baby, all that type of stuff, like the Atlanta area, Magic City, stuff like that, it's right around the corner from that type of stuff. So that was a good experience for me. You go to the next one. I also did a brand. It started with this logo that I have here. The logo is actually based off of a big picture of myself. I should have put that in there, but I started with that. That was roughly in junior year. I actually came up with the logo, and I didn't do nothing expansive with it. I didn't do all this stuff. It was really just the logo print on a bunch of different colored shirts. And at that time, I was actually like throwing parties. I was like throwing parties, and I was doing things for like the school afterwards. Like basically like I had a group of friends that I used to do things with, and we do the after party for like our graduation. We do the after party for like homecoming. So a lot of these things has allowed me to spread the brand into a lot of different networks, touch into a lot of people, and it was all for fun. I wasn't thinking business at all. It was literally just, oh, I like this, people tend to like it. Really, I like the energy that I got behind it. I just kept moving with it. You go next up. This is probably this is last year, and this is about 3 years ago. A lot of the characters, all this stuff really expanded as I kept going. I kept meeting more people, shaking more hands, just from people liking a small thing and really just pursuing it. Whether I got no's, yes, someone liked it, didn't like it, whether I went up and set up at a pop-up shop and sold nothing, or I went to a pop-up shop and sold out. I just always kept that motion because it was really based off of how I felt, the vision I saw in my head. It wasn't really about how anyone else felt about it. I just knew I had something in me that I was trying to get out. And it wasn't about profit, it wasn't about anything. It was not until later on in life that I actually started thinking on the business sense to say, let me learn things about marketing, finances, business structure, things like that. Go to the next slide.
I don't know. Press that. Because I can take pictures for Flores.
I highlight a lot of stuff in terms of art and the clothing and the murals because it started with one thing, and I know it seems like you should have it all figured out as you're growing. As you're at this age, a lot of people make it seem like I said, Instagram, social media, you may have older people that tell you need to do this, do that. Or you may have, to be honest, for me, I didn't have, other than my aunt, really nobody was telling me to do anything. It just seemed like my family trusted me. And I didn't really, even though I was lost and I was very confused, you still got to tap into that thing that's in you, regardless of all the influence that you have. So I basically had to say that like the art and everything came from one thing, but from sketching art, I saw how I could, okay, this design, I could create a piece of artwork that goes with it. If they don't like the design, they could probably buy a print. If they don't like the print, they may want a sticker. If they don't like that, they may say, you're just good in general. Maybe you can come do a mural in my building. Like, that's the spirit of entrepreneurship, the feeling of like taking something that with your own hands and applying it to different things for potentially profit or just for your passion. You go to the next slide. Okay, so pretty much that quick synopsis, I just wanted to say that life goes in phases. So my initial background, like I said, 10 years in high school, just like y'all, I just kind of wasn't really sure. I knew I had an idea. I was a little nervous about the future, but I was also motivated at the same time. I had a lot of confidence in myself, even though I didn't know what I was going to do. Honestly, in high school, I really thought art was boring when I first entered it. Although I was really good at it and everyone loved me and like always asked me, oh, draw this, draw that. I really didn't like it. I really didn't see nothing purposeful about it. Like I like sneakers, you know, girls, things like that, partying, all that type of stuff. But then after a while, I started to see where art and something that I created actually started to touch people and like create a difference. Like I started to put more energy into it because although other things were going on, I saw the positive effects from it, and it was something that was coming from me. So in my early years, to be honest with you, I really thought I knew it all. I didn't want to go to college because once I started doing the art and stuff, I just felt like this is what I was going to do. I felt no need to do anything like that. My aunt honestly was a big spark for that to just give me perspective to say like, although you feel like you can do this, life is very expensive. You can go a lot of different routes in what you're doing. So basically how I actually got into the business, about junior year, about to graduate, like I said, I started doing the brand. A lot of people started liking it. And then when I got into college, I did a year and a half of college and then I dropped out after my second semester. Reason being is because when I got to college, I actually didn't really have a purpose for going. I just knew that like my aunt kind of promoted me to. The family always said, oh, go to college, that's how you get a good job, that's how you get this, that, and the third. And they're not wrong. It just really stems into what it felt in me at that time, where, to tell my honest story, I did a semester of college. I'm actually pretty bad at math. I didn't apply myself to make myself better at math, but I knew that while I was at college, I was basically in my motion of selling shirts. I would come out of class, there were people like, yo, I see your new posters, that third. I'll go to my car, I used to have stuff in my car, I used to go selling to them like that. And then second semester, I basically, and this is what led into other things in my life, I told myself, instead of having other people print my stuff, I took my refund check and I invested in screen printing equipment. So I could print my own shirts, start making my own stuff, and I went down that route. Basically where I am now, from all those years, I'm still pursuing the dream. It's not to say that like I've made it, it's not to say that like I've been unsuccessful, I've been successful, I've shaken people's hands, I've had to lose connections. It's a lot of things in life that like, even though you have this goal to say like, all right, ideally this is success for me, there's a lot of different things that's going to navigate, maneuver, that's going to, you never know. You may shake that one hand, they may say that one thing, and you may go down a whole nother route, and it actually will fulfill you because you are open to the experience of things. You're not locked in, you're not pretty much stuck in yourself to say, I got it so figured out that I don't need any other influence to kind of navigate things. So that's why I'm still living the dream. I went through so many different routes and ups and downs, ebbs and flows to get to here now where I'm having a talk in front of you guys, which is actually a part of my dream from years ago. This is just my first opportunity to do it. Go to the next one. Alright, so we're going to start with developing your plan. Pretty much developing your plan is really 50% of the battle. A lot of your confusion in terms of you say when you feel motivated, then you're kind of scared, when you come into your planning. The more planning that you have, the more things that you actually get out on paper, the more you write it out and the more you got to experience it, the less scared you'll be because you actually gain a thing called experience. So even if something bad may happen, you may have already been through it, or you may have heard from somebody to say, okay, I know how to navigate that. The potential scare that you feel is just really confusion because you don't know what's out there. But once you really get into it, like that scare becomes excitement. It becomes the side that makes you feel overly motivated because even though scary things are out there, you're gonna go out there and do it. Like you have that kind of energy where you feel ready to do it. So developing your plan is a key factor in that to give you that security to say like, no, I have something that in my head that I want to execute, but I actually put tangible steps to it to make it happen. Go ahead next time. Okay, so initially it starts with what do you see for yourself. This can be a lot of different things, and just to go into it, a quick thing up here is like life is about vision, planning, and overall mindset. Everything else kind of falls into that. The ups and downs, whether you fail 1,000 times or whether you succeed 1,000 times, is going to fall into mindset. Whether you know what you're doing or not know what you're doing is going to fall into your plan. Whether you see where you're going or don't see where you're going, you're confused or in dark, is going to come from your overall vision. From there, everything else will kind of span from there. Pretty much, I would recommend this to everybody. Before you do pursue anything, have an honest conversation with yourself. And really figure out what your why, like why you're doing it. Now, to be honest, nowadays you can be easily influenced, and I say this a lot, you got social media. You can scroll through your Instagram, you can scroll through your Twitter, and you can see someone that started something yesterday and it seems like they're blowing up tomorrow. You don't know what's going on in their machine. You don't know what behind the scenes stuff they're doing, or if they're just flexing. You don't know if they're just making it look good and not really making any money. Then on the flip side, you have people that are working, that went through college and are working 9 to 5, but they're actually very happy because they understand their plan. It's not all about someone's outside perception. There's a lot of things that like, it's you, it's what you see. So that's why I say you gotta have an honest conversation with yourself and say, why am I doing this? Why do I want to pursue what I'm pursuing? Why am I going on this route? Why am I saying no to college if I am? Or why am I not even considering certain things? Or why am I shunning my uncle that may be saying, yo, you should do this? You gotta sit down and say to yourself, why are you doing certain things? Because it's gonna help tremendously. It's gonna prevent a lot of distractions. It's gonna prevent you from following the wrong people because you know in yourself why you're doing something. And that's why I say again about the experience of life. You should be pretty much, if you do your best to just be open to the experience of life and be working on being the best version of yourself, you're gonna fall into a lot of pockets that will actually be helpful for you whether you want to or not. But that mindset and that vision that you have, whether it's fully articulated out or just you're taking it day by day, is going to prevent a lot of distractions. You go next time. Alright. Things that people don't think about that leads to confusion overall in life is truthfully everything under the sun has some kind of playbook, has some kind of rules. Any career, anything you want to pursue, there's someone that done it before that may have already laid some steps that you can innovate and change to do in your own way, or there's a list of steps that you can follow to the T with dedication that can lead you to a certain level of success. Every single thing has a playbook. Everything has a breakdown. If you want to write books, there are steps that you have to take to finding an editor, to writing the story, to going from chapter to chapter to chapter, conclusion. Everything has a certain flow that it goes with. Think of it as a game. The reason why I say this is like if you're playing if anyone's into video games or anything like that, when you play a game, you may come across a task that's just too large because you just don't have the skills for it. You may not have the right sword to kill something. You may not have the right partner with you to tackle this thing that you need to do. Life is very similar to that. Like there may be a task that you want to get to, but I guarantee you there's a few things that you should accomplish on a small scale that will help you get to that bigger step. A lot of people think it's just here and then there, but there's a million little steps to like designing a shoe. There's a million little steps that goes into that. You gotta build the sole, the lacings, the ankle support. There's a lot of steps to make one thing come together. Also, everything has a cost. Before I go into the other stuff, a lot of people that get deterred from college tends to worry about tuitions or their current resources or where they're at right now, and they may feel as though they can't pursue because of money. Being realistic with y'all, every single thing has a cost in this world. If you want to go to college, you're going to have to pay tuition, you have to pay it back. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you're going to learn through trial and error. You're going to learn through spending money and things not necessarily working out. You're going to learn through just losses. Not even, you may say to yourself, I'm going to take $1,000 because I know if I put this here, it's going to flip and it just tanks. That's part of your life tuition. You may not ever get that back. Just like you may never get that back in terms of college, but the experiences, the lessons you learn, the things that the intangibles is really what you're paying for. College on one end is the tuition to get in there, but you're really paying for controlled education. You're getting a direct curriculum telling you, yo, you should do this, 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 and this, and it's going to lead to the thoughts that you need to do the next thing. If you're in a controlled environment where you can experience multiple people, or you can experience parties and things like that, but not be out here in the dangers of the world where things can go left. Like, things can go left anywhere, but at least in college you're paying for these type of things to have a security guard here, someone here, you need to go downstairs and get food. But on the flip side, entrepreneurship, you're going to pay for trial and error. You're going to pay for like self-teaching. You're going to pay for like motivational classes. Go ahead next one. Alright, so tips to developing your life plan and vision. Just a few questions you should ask yourself. It'll help you go in the right direction. Simple things like, what are your interests? You may be interested in pets. You may be interested in rocks. You may be interested in space. Something like that could start putting you in the direction of, okay, I've always liked this thing. Let me develop on it more. Also, things such as like, what are your values, or what do you define or see as success? Certain things like, what do you define as success? That goes back to that first slide where you guys sit down and really be honest with yourself. What's your why? What do you see? Don't do it based off the gram. Don't do it based off of someone else. Like, what do you see for yourself? This one here is like, basically, it just says a little quote, guys. It's like, dream big, but be honest with yourself to help you navigate where to spend your time, energy, and attention as you grow. But unsuccessful people make decisions based on their current situation. Successful people make decisions based on where they want to be. Again, back to what I'm saying. When you have a plan, you make decisions based off of what you see in the future. When you're just going with the flow and you're just like, oh yeah, I think, you're just making off of your current circumstances. It leads to more confusion. You're just pulling in the air. Like it's going to continue. Like you may get some success, you may not get some success, but it's easier to pinpoint what's going on. Okay, cool. Boom. Quick thing on college and its alternatives. All right, reasons to consider college. Like I said, there's a lot of different things. You can go to college in terms of like, there are some careers in this world that just require college. There's no way to go about it. If you want to be a doctor or a nurse or something like that, you pretty much have to go to college. If you want to counselor or be a teacher, if you want to, it goes on and on. There's certain things that you just have to go to college. So go back and ask yourself what you're trying to do. If you want to be an architect, for example, you don't necessarily have to go to college. You can do it the entrepreneurial route, but college is a little bit more controlled in terms of what you're trying to do. You meet networks, you you shake the right hands. It puts you in a controlled environment to shake the right hands. For those that may live with their parents or may not see a way to experience independence, college is a chance for that too. You may set yourself up where you can stay on campus, you can stay off campus, you may get a scholarship, where you're going there for education, but you're also going there to develop yourself. You get a chance to just breathe and just see what it's like to step out on your own. When you get hungry, you can't go in the fridge and just see something in there. You gotta say, no, let me go to the cafeteria, or let me see if I can go get some food. It just helps you in terms of like experiencing a certain sense of independence. Another big thing I will say for going to college is networking. Networking and creating long-lasting relationships. Even though I only did that semester and a half, the amount of people that I met, the things that it turned into just from me being in college, shaking hands, like that controlled environment where everyone had no choice but to be in that one place. Some people are there for college, some people are there setting up other things. It's like you meet such diverse people from so many different places that you may not have already met. Granted, we're in New York, you meet diverse people all the time, but you may go to a college in Atlanta or HBCU where you get a totally different feel for another person or energy that you never knew from, and it's just in that controlled environment where you can just easily shake a hand because they're right there in your cafeteria. Or you may meet somebody similar, like you may walk down the street, someone has the same sneakers on you, you go talk to him, but he's all the way from Cali. And you're like, oh wow, what's that like? It's one of those type of things where it's a little bit more controlled, and that type of experience is right there in front of your face if you choose to grasp it. You can go, just this one tidbit here. Depending on your overall vision for life, college can play a vital role in your plan. The reason why I say that is, even if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can go to college for business. You can go to college for marketing. You can go to college for public speaking and relations. There's soft skills and certain things that's in the entrepreneur that you will learn through taking the hits that you can actually learn if you just went to college and did 4 years, and it will better equip you in terms of, like I said, marketing, soft skills like networking, the little things that they teach you in there that you would have to figure out for yourself out in the world. Alternatives to college. For those that don't necessarily want to do college, there's other things you can do, such as trades and trade schools. I didn't put this in there, but actually when I was 12, I used to work with my stepdad, and I was really a carpenter from 12 to about, I don't know, I would say like 25. The amount of things I learned while doing that, while still working a job, has helped me a lot nowadays. I've actually built, my first screen print was made out of wood that I bought from Home Depot that I learned how to do because I used to work with my stepdad. It goes into a lot of different things. Again, the experience of life. That's one end of trades. Or you can go to, what I was saying with that was, in terms of trades, you may have someone in your family that is an electrician, that is a plumber, or they are a mechanic. If you don't necessarily want to go to school or go to trade school, you can start your apprenticeship right underneath them. You can start learning directly underneath them, and that will take you into a sense of entrepreneurship because now you have the skills that you need to potentially start a business, or if you want to go work for a mechanic shop, or it takes you to a lot of different ways. Trade schools, on the opposite hand, is like a quicker sense of college. It's just a little bit more hands-on. Same thing, if you want to go like mechanic, work on airplanes, anything that's a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more tangible, you can do trade school, go in there for a year or two, and then not only that, they put you in apprenticeship programs where you can come out the door in like a year or two, making money, doing, and it's not all about the money, but you'll be in what you're doing. Then you can also get some finances to help possibly fund that next thing. College is the same way too. You can go to college, get that degree in something, and then I know plenty of people that went to college for 4 years, did their career for 2, but the amount of money that they made from it made it easier for them to fund that business, start that side thing, do that next thing that really was that passion inside their heart. The next thing you can go into is certification in ITs. This is actually a big thing nowadays. I would say that just the sense of the way technology is going and the way the world is going, there's a lot of certifications online that you can do for free. Also, there's a lot of certifications that you can do monthly payments of like $25 a month, where you could be a UX designer. And entry level for like a UX designer is about $75K a year. And it's a little bit half and half. It's one of those things where you can basically, on one end it is books, but on the other end it is hands-on and like your creative thought. The certifications tend, depending on where you go with it, tends to give you the basics that you need for a certain field, but you have to take those basics and apply with yourself and really show that, look, I already grasped the certification, but I'm ready to step into this. This is where resumes, interviews, things like that will come in when you do certifications. And then IT, a lot of people think that you gotta go to college to do anything with computers and technologies, and honestly, no. A lot of the people that are in IT already did certifications, or they actually were working with a company doing one thing and just asked to move to another position. And it's one of those type of things where IT computer skills and things like that, it's all over the internet, it's all over YouTube. You can learn coding, you can learn things like Python, you can learn things like Figma, which you can make your own apps. This can go into, like I said, many different routes in terms of if you want to do your own business, now you can make your own app just because you did a certification. Or if you want to actually become a UX designer, you did a certification, and by you applying it for yourself, it looks better when you go into that interview, when you go in and show them like, hey, not only did I go through the certification course, I basically applied it to myself, and I'm that person that you need to hire because I can do this, this, and this. Jobs in 9 to 5, everyone knows about that. I was telling my aunt this. To be honest, it's a little tough one here for me. This because on one end, I don't want to disencourage it, but I don't necessarily want to encourage it. It just depends on how you go about it. There are 9 to 5s that go nowhere. There are like certain jobs that like you may be making decent money now, but you will plateau. There's not many places to go with certain 9 to 5s. Then there's other 9 to 5s. I'll give you an example. I currently have 9 to 5 along with the other things I do. I got in this 9 to 5 just to supplement extra money during the slow winter times. But while I was there, they moved me to now where I'm a chemical engineer. I never thought I would actually like it, but I guess from them seeing something in me and me working there, it put me in another position where I actually make more money than where I got started, but I'm learning a whole sense of new skills that I didn't think I would have got if I didn't just, one, have the energy in myself to say I deserve more, and then also to show them that like I'm capable of more. It took me into this thing where I'm doing it now. It's been about 6 months. It's actually very enjoying. Like I didn't expect for that to happen, but that's the other side to 9 to 5 in jobs. Not all of them you will plateau. Some of them have potential for you to grow based off of where you can show the company and things like that. And then there's entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur, kind of two totally different things. Entrepreneurship is more so in the spirit of things. Entrepreneurship is like how you can do the brand, you can also print shirts on the side, you can also do murals. That's more so entrepreneurship, doing things with your own energy, your own skills, your own feelings, and making a profit of it to sustain your life. Being an entrepreneur is more so investing in ownership of businesses, where you actually have, okay, I may start a food truck business, get an LLC, pay for all the paperwork, do that. You're technically an entrepreneur, but you're really a food truck owner. What makes it to the next things where you say, okay, instead of one food truck, I'm going to buy 2. I'm going to buy 2 food trucks and a bodega. I'm going to have a bodega and a laundry. That now puts you into more of an entrepreneur. Things prior to that, doing it on your own, using your own skills and things like that is entrepreneurship. You're in the spirit of entrepreneurship. You're building yourself up. When you get to that Mark Cuban and the Donald Trumps and all that stuff, I love when you actually have tangible businesses that are running themselves, bringing in profits on multiple fronts, is where it kind of leans more into being an entrepreneur. You go next. And just a few things to consider. You don't have to go to college straight school directly out of high school. There's some people that actually go to college and they don't have a clue for what they're doing. They actually spend more time than they need to just in confusion, but it's not a bad thing either. You can also go the ultimate route where you take time to develop your plan, you can study for a little bit, but the problem with that is you get caught into the flow of life, where you can go into other different things and you may not make it back to college. I'm not saying not to, I'm just saying don't feel the pressure to, I have to do it right after high school. There's time. Also, I want to say time is an illusion. That 2 to 6 years is very small. It's a very small frame of time. I'm 29 now. I thought about going back to school many a times. I actually still think about going back to school because between now and when I was your age, it felt like it went by in a breeze, but it was actually a long time at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it goes by quick, but in the process of it, when you're in the motion of it, it feels long. But really, them 2 to 6 years that you may do at college or a trade school, something like that, is truly nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, you can really sacrifice those 2 to 3 years to really set yourself up for a better future. Even if you decide to make a left turn later, you have certain things underneath your belt that can actually help fund that turn or fund that business or fund wherever you try to go later on. It won't be easy no matter what you do, whether you decide to go to college, decide to get a 9 to 5, decide to stay at home. Like, nothing in this life is really easy, but again, that goes into mindset. It's just a part of it. Like, it's growing pains. Life's greatest teacher is adversity. Always be a student, always strive for greatness, and then also understand that not everyone's going to agree or understand what you're doing. You may have a family member that's just so gung-ho on like you going to college that they may disown you. But if you feel in your heart that like this business is what I'm taking on or this is what I want to do, like, and you really put a plan to it and you just see the tangible things, you got to pursue that. I would recommend it. You're all stepping into being young adults. After a while, people will stop holding your hand. You will have to. It will be recommended to start taking some of that on to say, no, this is what I want to do with myself. You got this.
I'm not gonna lie, I may have been that auntie that was like, go to college. Go to
You
college.
were. You
But I
were.
didn't disown her.
You're right. You're right. Like, just quick tangent. She literally knows I was hard-headed. I did not want to go to college. I did not want to have her things. I listened to her for the sense of like, I'm gonna go. Like, we went to Cornell University and it was amazing for me. Like, I was taking on just to say, let me just do it for the experience. I'm very big on just seeing. It's not gonna hurt you to say like, let me at least hear what this older person has to say, or let me at least go walk on the campus for a little bit. It's not gonna hurt you.
Get the feel of it.
Just get the feel. Alright. Next thing is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has changed a lot over the years. Pretty much what it is the act of starting and running your own business, or the tendency to be creative and wish to work for yourself in your own ventures. You can do this individually or with partners. It doesn't mean you have to do it all yourself. You can find someone that may share what you're trying to do. You work with. Boom. How do you go about entrepreneurship? Really, the main thing is to honestly start today. Entrepreneurship is a big thing on trial and error. You will like fail. You will like not know what you're doing. But one of the big things is to start today. Start doing the research. Start looking at the YouTube videos. Start following people that are like on the gram that may be in the field of what you want to be. You want to be a lash tech. There's someone that you can see that may be telling you, yo, I'm doing this, and this. You want to have a clothing brand. There's Virgil recipes. There's Kanye. There's people out there that you can see, or Don C. There's people out there you can see, and you can go listen to their backstories. A lot of different things. I would just say start diving in today. Like just start. Entrepreneurship is a little bit different than college. College you gotta fill out paperwork, take tests, and that. Entrepreneurship, you can literally walk out here tomorrow and start working on entrepreneurship. Like not tomorrow, literally once I'm done, you can start working on it. Make a business plan, an overall plan. We already went over that. A big thing is to find a mentor. And this mentor is either in what you're trying to do, or like how my aunt, where they have just an overall understanding of life and they can give you just little tidbits to help you skip the learning curve. Like I said, with entrepreneurship and really life in general, you're going to go through a lot of growing pains. You're going to figure out a lot of things by yourself. But if you have someone trusted in your life that you can like just call and say, hey, I'm going through this, or hey, I have a question about this, or hey, like I'm confused on this. It makes a huge difference. Instead of you being in your own head trying to figure things out, or asking your friends who are really at the same mental mindset level as you. It's always better to think up, think above. It'll help you skip the learning curve, which is big. Where other people are going at this trajectory, you can go up, over, and about many things because you got someone that told you, nah, don't do that. Like, I did that when I was this age. It don't make no sense. You're going to definitely, you know what I mean? Just that little thing. It will help you expand a bit. Okay, and just pretty much what I was saying, entrepreneurship is just about taking action and embracing the journey. That's the best thing to say. Like, from when I started to where I'm at now, I didn't know half the things I would have did. I didn't know I would meet half the people. I thought I was going to be rich and famous by the time I turned 23. Like, that was always in my head. I was like, I'm going to be rich and famous by 23. But to be honest, and not to say I didn't achieve that, because I actually achieved some success. I've reached some people, I've achieved some notoriety and stuff like that. But when you think about the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It's a whole journey. Like, because right after that, things may go shaky, and they did for me. I had to go through a reset period. It's just expanding on the whole journey in life. Be prepared to step out of your comfort zone. It's very important on that. That mindset is very important in terms of like just experiencing, being open to what comes. Yeah, I already went over. You go next time. This is a very important thing about entrepreneurship and business in general. You either love the practice of business in general, or you love what you're in business for. So what I mean by that is loving the practice of business in general. This is for most of the person that like enjoys running something, enjoys being a boss, enjoys, not solely a boss, but enjoys like, I don't necessarily have to be the creative behind it. I don't have to be the cook. I don't have to be the designer. I don't have to be this. You just love business to say, you know what, I'm going to raise capital for something that I believe in because I've studied business to the point to see the trajectory of where this thing is going, or the trajectory of where this thing I'm investing in is going. You don't have to be the artist and the passionate person and come up with the idea. You can have just a love for business and find ways to interject yourself and really help someone else with their business and achieve two things. On the flip side, you love what you're in business for. That's where you're more so the artist, you're the passionate person, where you say, okay, I love doing hair, so I'm going to make a business out of it. I love designing sneakers, so I'm going to create a business out of it. I don't know, like, what's something you love, bro? You love traveling, so I'll make a business out of it. That can be many different things. You can become a pilot, you can become a travel agent, you can become an influencer where there's people that go travel different places and tells you about eating and food and stuff like that. There's a lot of different things that will tend to your plan. There's not one way. But essentially you should love what you're in business for, or you love business in general. Just a few more things to consider. Again, not everyone's going to understand your vision. That's what entrepreneurship or going to college, just your vision in general. Some people aren't going to understand it. You got to believe in what you're doing. In terms of entrepreneurship, the pursuit would definitely require a lot of personal time and resources, just from self-teaching yourself, just from building up your own money, you may have to work a 9 to 5 until you can afford that piece of equipment, or you may have to, I don't know, you may want to ask a family member for some money because you really believe in this thing, but it may not turn out that way, so you got to get out there and grind and get the money yourself. Entrepreneurship does require a lot of yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help, though. That's where it comes into, you may not never know. You may have somebody that's watching your journey and may say, no, I want to invest in this young person. I like what they're doing. I want to help them pursue something. I want to help them get to where they're trying to be. Again, it won't be easy. I'm going to say that about anything. Just put that in your head now. I'm not going to lie. Just put that in your head now. It just won't be easy. Always learning. Entrepreneurship requires constant growth and learning. And there will be many ups and downs, but the correct attitude can handle any wave. Go to the next slide. And I'm going to finish out with mindset. Boom. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% about how you react to it. Big quote. I had that quote in my head probably since I was about 16, 17. A lot of things, how can I explain? A lot of things aren't like, a lot of things that happen to you, let me articulate this correctly. A lot of things that happen to you aren't necessarily bad if you're thinking about it in a certain mindset. Like, some things may look terrible at that moment, but if you really sit back and think about it, it could have been saving you from something. I'll give an example. Right now, people tend to be worried about friends, who likes me, who doesn't like me, stuff like that at that age. You kind of worry about that kind of thing in high school and stuff. You could have a group of friends that basically you thought had your back, or y'all were doing everything together, y'all were achieving stuff. Later on, they just branch off, they start doing stuff. Maybe they play you in the process, stuff like that. In your head, you may be saying, oh God, like, dang, I can't achieve nothing, like, I may not be that good of a person because, oh, this person stepped out of my life, or someone broke up with me. All that stuff don't matter. You may be surprised of a blessing in disguise, but the right mindset is what's going to help you see it. Sometimes those setbacks are really just to put you in a better position to move forward. That's what I mean about resetting. You'll go on this journey, you may be up sometimes, and then that up, if you're not thinking about it correctly, could be your downfall. You may be down and think you're going to be down forever, but there's like blessings in that downfall if you have the right mindset to say, wait, maybe I need to step back from whatever that thing was that I failed at. Or maybe I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Or maybe I just didn't have the passion for it and this was the universe taking me somewhere else. The right mindset would like to think about all the things that are happening so you can really assess it to say, okay, well, am I going to keep continuing? Is it a bad thing? Do I need to keep going or not? You go next slide. And then just some key truths. I said earlier, adversity is life's greatest teacher. You'll go through a lot of stuff, but the right mindset will definitely keep you on the right track. Try one new thing every day, and I say that in the sense of whether you're going to college or if you're doing entrepreneurship, it's really a daily, life is a daily thing. You just got to get up and take it day by day. If you're getting up and you're pursuing something day by day, if you read one chapter from whatever you're trying to study, or if you listen to one video, it strings momentum. That's what it is. It strings a sense of momentum together that will help you. It'll better float you. Like, you'll be moving on a certain wave, and you won't notice it because of days and days of momentum that you built up. For example, when you have a super lazy weekend, you stop doing stuff, it'd be a little bit harder to get back into that gear. So it's always better just taking it day by day. Be your own cheerleader. you gotta be in your head knowing that what you're doing is what you need to be doing. Like, feel like love yourself. At the end of the day, like, it's maybe a little dark, but it's like born alone, die alone, even though you have people in your life currently. But at the end of the day, like, you have to realize that, like, it's only you in your head. So you have to really, like, be your best, like, dog, you got this, regardless of what anyone else feels. Cultivate a sense of purpose, have faith in your ability, emphasize growth over speed. Now, again, in today's day and age, it makes you, a lot of things will make you feel like you have to have it by tomorrow. It makes you feel like, oh, if you don't have this one thing, you're not it, or you're not him, or all that type of things. Like, oh, you're not waiting. Don't worry about that type of stuff. Focus on your growth. There are plenty of people. There are plenty of people that that reach heights and then fall extremely quickly, and they don't know how to bounce back because they were just so caught up in the, oh, I'm going fast, I'm making all this money right now. But they didn't cross all their T's and dots all their I's. They were just in a wave and just kept prioritizing speed. Speed isn't what it is. You have a whole life ahead of you. You will be able to make so many different pivots, turns. You'll do college, come out of college and feel like, okay, even though I did college, I did this totally different thing. It's all perspective. It's all energy. It's all being open to just embrace the journey of life. That's the best I can say. Like, if I could recommend a book to read, it's called The Alchemist. Y'all probably heard it. And this whole story is not to ruin it for y'all. Not to ruin it for y'all, but the purpose of that book is really about the journey. Just to summarize it, you go through a million things. The guy goes through a million things in the story, ups, downs, lefts, right, things that he thought were his blessings just to be crashed in his face, to come back to a certain point where he realized that everything he was looking for was in the journey. And once he opened his mind and realized that the beauty of it, you start realizing that you're living your dream every day when you just accept that you're in the journey to do it. I kind of feel like that's a good way to close out. I like how that ended. What's the next slide? Alright, boom, I'm done. Man, appreciate y'all. Thank you.
You guys have any questions?
Questions, comments, concerns?